Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at the investment markets. Really quite an interesting week, after all the concerns about Brexit. The market's certainly opening up pretty volatile and down quite a bit. Recovered quite a bit of lost ground as it was sort of now forecast that maybe it's not the sort of end of the global financial markets. Certainly there'll be some issues for the UK and potentially for Europe. Maybe a little sort of spillover into global growth, but it's not going to be the actual meltdown that people first anticipated. Just looking at in the UK, I mean, obviously the pound under quite a bit of pressure. Obviously you've got leadership elections as well. They're trying to find a new Prime Minister, and sort of surprise candidate Theresa May looks like she's leading the first round of polling. And it's quite interesting now that the major sort of heavyweights on the sort of Brexit side, with Boris Johnson and Michael Gove really not performing that well. You've also seen Nigel Farage step down as well as the leader of the UK Independent Party. So it's sort of quite interesting having got them sort of past the post and sort of getting to the objective they wanted. Most of these high-profile figures are leaving, or in case of Boris Johnson, pretty much stabbed in the back. US market returns after its Independence Day break, and it's now going to be interesting as the market starts to focus again on data. You've got the non-farm payrolls coming out this Friday. Remember, the last report was really quite weak. It was only around sort of 35,000 when you compare it to sort of a 12-month average of around 200,000. But also as well starting to focus on earnings as well as they start to come through, and it's just going to be very interesting to see how corporate America is performing. At the moment it's not doing too badly, but it's just going to be interesting to see really the numbers coming through and also the guidance as well. Certainly, given the current market turmoil, I think it's pretty much sure that there'll be no rate hike in the next sort of couple of months. But I say if that data does start to sort of show continued strength there in the labour markets, and that the last reading on the non-farm payroll was really just a bit of a blip. It's going to be interesting come sort of September, October time, just to see what the Fed will do. Added to the mix as well around that time, obviously in November, is the election in the US, and it's just going to be interesting now with sort of Trump versus Clinton. It looks like we should see the VPs announced very soon. You can probably expect Clinton sort of pretty much toe the party line and have a very sort of solid, upstanding candidate. But it's going to be very interesting to see who Donald Trump chooses. Certainly his candidacy so far in his campaign has been less than sort of conventional, and it's just going to be very interesting to see who he chooses as his running mate there for the VP. Sort of stated markets have been pretty volatile, but I think they can take a little bit of heart. Certainly the US banks and the Federal Reserve have conducted some pretty tough stress tests, and the banks came through there with flying colours. So that does give the market a little bit of comfort out there. Also interesting to see oils come back just a little bit now, hovering around that sort of low $46 a barrel on WTI. Housing in New Zealand is still a real issue, with sort of house prices increasing all the time, and that puts further pressure on the sort of housing market. But also as well, it puts the Reserve Bank in pretty much a bit of a pickle, really, because certainly given Brexit, there was talk that you might just see a further rate cut here in New Zealand. But with the rampant housing market and things really looking like they're getting very carried away, it's going to be very difficult for the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates. Trying to put sort of all sorts of measures in place to try and cool the housing market down, but at present it's just showing no signs of doing so. So with these low interest rates, as we've discussed here many times before, there are other options out there if you're looking for income. And if you're interested in discussing these, call us on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles. We look forward to speaking to you soon.